I'm actually very glad you guys are attending, otherwise Chris and I would be just talking to the screen or the window. And also too, thank you for taking more than one duty. So let me just quickly run over what double and triple duty we might have. Gary's going to be the Toastmaster, as well as invocation, as well as general evaluator. Lori's going to be the word of the day. She's also going to take a counter and timer. Alan is going to do the meeting minutes and be the videographer. Arlene is evaluating speaker 1. Chris will be evaluating speaker 2. We have Eric, he's going to be doing table topics. I think that has everybody covered. Just just a reminder for us, you probably got the emails this morning from John regarding next week's meeting, which will be the holiday party. And we've done this every year, it's kind of fun. We'll provide the main part of it, and he'll as far as food, and John will pass around or send around a sign-up sheet with just potluck items to bring. Nothing, you don't have to bring a whole lot, or we still could use people to bring even napkins and chips and stuff like that. So it'll be fun because we'll have it's a white elephant gift exchange meeting. Bring something from your home that you don't mind giving away, and the twist to it this year will be that you'll write along with it a table topic question. So the person and you want to wrap it, of course, and the person who picks it will then have to answer the table topic question along with what they've unwrapped. So it could provide for some very good entertainment. It's always been very entertaining past years. So with that, I will go ahead and introduce our Toastmaster for the day, Gary. He's wearing his Toastmaster hat.
Well, we've all reached a milestone in our Toastmasters group.
We did?
It's the last one of the year.
Oh,
yes. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. Thank you, Maggie, for filling in for the president. You did a really good job, so maybe next time there's an election. So be careful what roles you fill. Could we have an invocation from Lori? Actually, Lori and I are both going to kind of share in it because we both prepared in the case where there's nobody.
Okay.
So.
Thanks, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
These are short, but I think they're kind of meaningful. There's only one person who could ever make you happy, and that person is you. And here's one other one. Happiness is contagious, so please start the epidemic today.
All right. And for my invocation, what I did was just printed out some people's opinions or views, I guess, on how Christmas is celebrated in different parts of the world. So, United Kingdom. Christmas in the United Kingdom tends to clear away the clutter. Little towns hold carol festivals, cathedrals host extra services, and people actually attend. Hearts are hardened by raw commercialization or commercialism of the season. I think he's missing a word. Hearts that are hardened by the raw commercialism of the season soften in the glow of candlelight. In Lebanon, many people in the Middle East, including some Muslims, celebrate Christmas with traditional markers, such as Christmas trees, gifts, and family gatherings. Mexico and Colombia. In the Spanish-speaking world, the Christmas season is the most joyful time of year. From the Night of Candles in Colombia on December 7th to Three Kings Day in Mexico on January 6th, the celebrations relate to Christ's coming and extend for several weeks. They always party down. Is that why they're still behind us? I don't know. Guatemala, Christmas time is a big festival. People everywhere decorate the streets with lights and head out to shop for gifts. And Australia. Christmas is usually hot in Australia. Not the right season for roasted turkeys and piles of steaming vegetables. But each year we seem to relive the traditions passed down from our European heritage. Fake snow is placed on windows along with lights that mimic icicles. Now, could we have our word of the day, Lori?
Sure. Our word of the day is assiduous, and it means constant and careful attention, continuous, tireless, persistency. Used in a sentence, our speakers today are assiduous in their ability to stay committed to providing our club with their well-planned and entertaining speeches. And I'll write it down here so you won't forget it and can use it today. Can you see that?
Yeah,
Assiduous.
kind of bent
Oh.
this way.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
Great, thank you, Lori. Let's all try to be assiduous today as we listen to the speakers. I have to use that word right now or I'll never use it again. All right. I will be the general evaluator as well in this meeting. And my team will consist of Arlene, who will evaluate Chris, who will evaluate Maggie, and Lori will do the timing report, and you have the odd, are you the odd counter?
Yes, I do, yes.
And the odd counter. What are you doing, Alan, besides?
I'm taking the minutes here,
Taking the minutes, okay. Thank you.
very assiduously.
All right, so I think we are ready for our first speaker, and today's first speaker is Chris Frank. And today he is giving his 9th speak of the Competent Communication Manual, Persuade with Power. His speech title is The 3 Words That Kill Medical Innovation. And he will persuade us that there is an invisible force that permeates throughout the medical industry that must be overcome in order to advance new medical technologies, or therapies, I'm sorry. Chris?
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, today it is my goal to persuade you that there is an invisible force that looms over the entire medical industry that limits innovation and what we can do as far as patient therapies and technologies are concerned. To begin illustrating this point, though, I'm going to start with discussing a cup of coffee. Now consider this. When you go to Starbucks and order a cup of coffee, much has been made about the fact that we're paying $2 for a cup of coffee. But you have to remember, by paying that $2, they then are able to offer you a couch, a seat next to a fireplace, access to their books and games, a place to invite and meet your friends, a place to study or read a book for hours on end, or write a screenplay, or start a business, all for a mere $2. I think that is an amazing customer experience for an incredible value. Now, to use that analogy in the medical industry, we have a very different equation. The customer comes to us and we say, "Sir, that will be $10,000 for that procedure. How would you like to pay?" In which case, we reply, "By the way, 60% of it's covered by insurance, but the remainder is your responsibility." "Oh, you don't have that right now? We can send you a bill for most of it, but there also is a copay. Can you pay that today?" "Okay, thank you." "Oh, you would like to sit on our couch? I'm sorry, we don't have a couch." "Oh, you're waiting for your grandson to come pick you up? Oh, you want to show me his picture? I'm sorry, I'm only allowed to talk to a patient for 2 minutes at a time. You'll have to come back some other time and show me their picture." "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't come back next week. You see, we can only see you once every 30 days. That's just the way it is. And what is it? What is this force, this invisible force that causes this situation to occur in the medical industry that sounds absurd and unfair when you compare it to other services that are out there that seem to be incredible value propositions? These three words that limit our innovation are the burden of care. In the medical industry, everything that we do, every technology we create, every therapy is limited because we have this concept of the burden of care looming over every idea that we have. We have to treat it as a transaction. Get this patient out of here as fast as possible, talk to them as little as possible. Can you imagine if Starbucks treated their customers this way? Oh, the burden of giving a person a cup of coffee every day. The same person comes in here again and again, and they just sit on my couch for hours at a time. Come on, the burden of helping these people. In the same respect, Apple Computer, the burden of delivering music to these people. Oh, they want new songs all the time. It's just outrageous. So I think I've driven my point home. The burden of care is absurd when you apply it to any other industry in the world. Now, you may try to argue that healthcare is different. First of all, I would say that if you look at the numbers, the profitability of the healthcare companies and the health insurance companies, we're talking about 70% profit margins on average. We're talking about companies that have billions of dollars in the bank, companies with more money than most states have right now. So this idea of the burden of care, not only does it limit our innovation, but it's not even true. It's false. We've just created it as a way to limit how we interact with our patients. Now what I'm going to give you as an analogy of a solution is something that applies directly to health. And instead of talking about health care, I'm going to talk about a health club. Because in a health club, think about what you have. You pay a monthly fee, and then you have access to all of these resources. But the difference is, we don't limit you by how much resources you need. So for example, a guy like Matt in our group, we don't say, oh, I'm sorry, Matt, you're training for a triathlon. You are an unreal burden on our system in our health club. We can't have people training for triathlons. That's just a waste of our resources. We only want people that need to lose like 5 or 10 pounds because they're only going to come in for a couple of months after New Year's and that's it. They're the only people we're going to allow. That's it. We don't want these triathletes. We don't want these people that need to lose a large amount of weight because they're going to use the system too. But here we have it, a health club. We have a system in place where we define resources that are available to people as much as they want, as often as they want. And yes, they can have additional things and pay extra for them, but it is available just as the coffee shop is always available to you, the music is always available to you, and the health club is always available to you. And what the difference is turning it from a transactional concept. We're trying to take these people that have had years and years of chronic disease and we're trying to treat it in one shot. The same as we all know, if we need to lose 5 or 10 pounds, we can't do it by just working out all day for one day. It takes a period of time for us to increase our health. Why do we think people with chronic problems can be treated in this single transaction and left alone? Well, we know from our health club experience, it's a repeated effort of time. And so I hope I persuaded you that this limitation on innovation is due to these 3 words, the burden of care. And the way to act against this invisible force is to start looking at therapy as a customer experience in health and wellness, just as getting a cup of coffee is my daily therapy. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Very good. All right, let's take a couple minutes to write down our evaluations for Chris. Very good speech, very motivating.
Thank you.
Everybody, you have 3 seconds to finish. Okay. All right. Next we will have Maggie Batten give us a little speech, and her topic is a Christmas poem. So Maggie?
Thank you. It's funny how our perception of Christmas evolves over time, kind of like concentric circles. What was important to me as a 5-year-old was the toy poodle in the store window that walked and barked, and it was something that I waited anxiously for on Christmas. So the circle grows as we grow older, and it changes as we're teens. What's important to us as a teen, as a college student perhaps even, and then as a parent and so forth. So now what's important to me are not so much the material things. Funny story, when my youngest son was 8, 9, or 10, in that ballpark, I can't remember exactly what, he gave to me for Christmas that year an index card. Actually, it's nicely wrapped. He had made elaborate pains to wrap it nicely with bows and so forth. And on the index card was written assiduously in his 8, 9, or 10-year-old handwriting, "Redeemed for one world peace." And I've kept it to this day because I thought it was really interesting, and I must have made an impression when I talked to him about that, what I wanted for Christmas. So in that spirit, I would now like to perform a reading of a poem called it's a Christmas poem, and the author is Maya Angelou. I've selected some pictures to accompany my reading so that gives you something else to look at besides myself. Thunder rumbles in the mountains, passing, and lightning rattles the eaves of our house. The floodwaters await us in our avenues. Snow falls upon snow, falls upon snow to avalanche over unprotected villages. The sky slips low and gray and threatening. We question ourselves. What have we done to so affront nature? We worry God. Are you there? Are you there really? Does a covenant you made with us still hold? Into this climate of fear and apprehension, Christmas enters, streaming lights of joy, ringing bells of hope, and singing carols of forgiveness high up on the bright air. The world is encouraged to come away from rancor, come the way of friendship. It is the glad season. Thunder ebbs to silence, and lightning sleeps quietly in the corner. Floodwaters recede into memory. Snow becomes a yielding cushion to aid us as we make our way to higher ground. Hope is born again in the faces of children. It rides on the shoulders of the aged as they walk into their sunsets. Hope spreads around the earth, brightening all things, even hate which crouches breeding in dark corners. In our joy we think we hear a whisper. At first it is too soft, then only half heard. We listen carefully as it gathers strength. We hear a sweetness. The word is peace. It is loud now, it is louder, louder than the explosion of bombs. We tremble at the sound. We are thrilled by its presence. It is what we have hungered for, not just the absence of war, but true peace, a harmony of spirit, a comfort of courtesies, security for our beloved and their beloveds. We clap hands and welcome the peace of Christmas. We beckon this good season to wait a while with us. We, Baptist and Buddhist, Methodist and Muslim, say, come, peace. Come and fill us and our world with your majesty. We, the Jew and the Jainist, the Catholic and the Confucian, implore you to stay a while with us so we may learn by your shimmering light how to look beyond complexion and see community. It is Christmas time, a halting of hate time. On this platform of peace, we can create a language to translate ourselves and to each other. At this holy instant, we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Into the great religions of the world, we jubilate the precious advent of trust. We shout with glorious tongues the coming of hope. All the earth Earth's tribes loosen their voices to celebrate the promise of peace. We angels and mortals, believers and non-believers, look heavenward and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at our world and speak the word aloud, peace. We look at each other, then into ourselves, and we say without shyness or apology or hesitation, peace, my brother. Peace, my sister. Peace, my soul. Thank you.
Okay, take a few minutes for your evaluation, please. Okay, at this time, we are ready for table topics. And Eric is our table topic master, so please come up, Eric.
Today for table topics, we're going to play a little game I'm going to call Good News for People Who Love Bad News. I'm going to give you a little situation, and the volunteer is going to then tell everybody why that is good news when maybe it's not so often perceived as good news. So, do I have a victim? I'm volunteer. All right. Thank you. Here you go. Get him riled up.
All right. No booze.
Would you like?
No booze? What?
Would you like to?
Oh, never mind.
Pick a number 1 through 6.
1 through 6? Let's go with 4.
Good one. As NASA's leading moon scientist, you calculate that a giant meteor is going to collide with our Earth's only moon tomorrow. Explain to us common folk why this is good news.
All right. I'll take a swing at that. Could probably give you some reasons. Not based in science because I did have a book once as given to me. I didn't read the whole thing, but it was a very depressing view of what would happen if we had no moon. And it looked very much like a doomsday type of movie scenario. But I imagine that the majestic scene of looking at our moon every night could only be enhanced by a large impact from a meteor, which would make it explode ever so slowly from great distance, and it would make something like the Death Star exploding. And we could view that from Earth, seeing quite a beautiful spectacle every night until these rocks have gone far enough from the moon that they enter the Earth's gravitational pull and shower us all across the globe with large chunks of moon rock. Up until that point, I think we could enjoy a very nice, beautiful, serene scene every evening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll volunteer if they're not scientific. Or I'll have to make something.
Thank you. Would you like to pick a number?
I'll take 6.
You'll take 6. All right. This one's not scientific.
Okay.
Congratulations, Arlene. You have just accepted the job of your dreams. It is the perfect career for you. The only tiny little blemish is that you'll have to move to Siberia. Explain to your husband or spouse, family, why this is good news.
Wow, I think it's good news because I think fur is cheaper there. And I love a fur coat. Plenty of land for sale, probably cheap land, a lot of land. Do they have moose? I don't know. Boy, I don't know much about Siberia. I don't think there's really much there, so I'd probably stand out like a sore thumb. I think if I did take that job, I would probably be getting a lot of money, and that would be the inspiration right there. And probably my contract would be signed in that it's not permanent, it's not a long, stint out see myself wearing a winter coat. He won't like it. He'd rather go somewhere hot. But I'll try to make it sound good. I don't know.
Thank you.
I'll
Gary.
go.
Right. Just like to pick a number that hasn't been chosen yet.
Number one.
Number one.
We're number one.
All right. You are the mayor of Minneapolis, and Godzilla has just trashed the downtown area. Explain to the Minneapolites, citizens of Minneapolis, why this is good news.
Oh, that one's not so bad. We have a chance to outdo Japan in the Godzilla movie. We're gonna get all of this on film. Every building that tumbles and crashes to the ground. Every bus that's kicked for 5 city blocks by Godzilla. We're gonna get it all on tape, on film, and then we're going to make the best Godzilla movie that's ever been made. And we will overtake the Japanese in these types of films. In fact, it might even give us opportunities for more monster films in the future. That's how it's going to be.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And then we don't build a Viking stadium there.
Oh yeah, you could have got that in there.
Do we have any other volunteers? Otherwise, could wrap it up.
We can wrap it up.
All right.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Cook.
All right, now we are to our general evaluation portion of the meeting. So why don't we start off with an evaluation of Chris's speech. And Arlene and Chris, would you come up, please?
Thank you. Good job. I don't have to say anything about your style because it's always good. And I think we've talked about that before. Your style is really good as a speaker and you grab everyone's attention, no matter what you're saying. But in regard to your persuading with power speech, your style does help because you do put emphasis on certain words, so that was good when you're trying to persuade. The comparative advantages you did between the medical industry and the coffee and the health club was good because I was kind of getting lost with the medical part of it because I'm just not on that side of it. I'm more in the finance, so the healthcare and the innovation, and I mean I understand we need all that, but I was trying to think why. I was waiting for the examples, I guess I should say. But then you turned around and did the coffee and the health club, and then I can relate to that because I've been in both. So that was, to me, just made it full circle and brought the persuasion 100% full circle for me, even though I didn't quite get where you're going with the medical until you did those part of it. So I thought you had a good beginning, middle, and ending, and your hand gestures and vocal variety were good in persuading. And the burden of care examples, like I said a minute ago, were all good and understandable. So, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene. And for Maggie's speech, we have Chris evaluating that. So Maggie and Chris, could you come up, please? Welcome.
Maggie, thank you for giving us a very timely speech and also a very positive, uplifting one, which is always good to have this time of year on these gray, even rainy days in December, which is bizarre. So I guess kind of just want to walk through your speech to begin with. I liked your opening. I feel like you used the same technique that I think I've seen Ellen use it a few times, where it seemed like you were just having this natural conversation, and all of a sudden it transitioned right into the subject of your speech. And it was just so natural that I just really appreciate when someone's able to do that, because I'm always find myself just like, all right, now I'm giving a speech, you know. I just like that, very smooth. It just seems like, it almost seems like you improvised the speech because you led into it so well. So that was a very good job there. And then also just because the way you tied in, you know, getting these Christmas presents, I like the idea of the circles of Christmas expanding and expanding to world peace, and then tying that into this beautiful poem. And then we get into the delivery of the poem, and it was just really, it was unexpected to end up having a delivery of a poem, first of all, but then second of all, to add to that these images that are very powerful to go along with that poem. And the, you know, matching the words, I kept noticing the word peace coming up throughout the poem, and then at the very end, I liked how you tied it perfectly together, where it kind of, the cadence of the word peace sped up, and you matched these images to that word. And I thought that was really a great way to end it. So I think, you know, overall, that, you know, your delivery of just moving into it, delivering this, and then ending it with this really neat kind of the grand finale type of thing was really fun to see. So there's the great things. So now the suggestions and thoughts and that kind of thing. And this isn't necessarily your fault. I really feel after watching you being stranded over here by your computer and having to click it, you know, this group, we really need to do a a bake-off or something and get a clicker so that our speakers aren't trapped to the machine over there. So I think that really would have helped for you to be able to be a little bit more relaxed, and not only we're like, oh, I have to get back to this computer for the next slide. And in that same regards, I felt like, and this is something that I think everyone will have a different opinion, but for me, not often do I read poems, and when you do, the density of the words is just so much, and then adding in the imagery also, it almost seemed to me like I needed you to really slow down for me to be able to take in all of that information. It's like, it's emotional words and powerful visual words, but not only from the poem, but also from the image too. So I almost felt like, you know, to put a number on it just because I have an engineering background, is like if you cut out a third of the images type of thing. And I think everyone might have different opinions, but I feel like, you know, these images were the kind that you can stare at for 10 seconds each, easily. You're not, you know, it's different than giving a PowerPoint presentation where you get bored because you can read the words in 2 seconds, you know, where these, you know, I can stare at them and listen to the words, and otherwise I felt like I got distracted because the image changes and I'm trying to follow the words, but the image, I'm looking at a new image, and there's a lot of senses going.
I went back and forth as to how many slides I should.
And it's hard, and I can imagine how hard it is because those are like just beautiful, amazing images. So I don't want to leave any of them out. You know? So I felt like that is something to just kind of think about. And in the same respect, just the delivery of the poem and that kind of. I think you have a very natural kind of soothing storytelling voice, and I think you can get even like what I put for like the future from you is to do that even better. Is for you, or you're one of those people, if you just slow down even more and let things sink in, because it seems like for some reason you can say the most mundane thing and it will seem like you're imparting some kind of words of wisdom on me. So I need a chance to let it sink in, you know. So great job, and I look forward to more, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Now, if we could have our timers report, and Lori White is our timer for the day.
Thank you, Garrett. Let's see. Okay, our first speech, Chris. I wrote it down. Sorry about that. It is not too many papers there. I have to find it. Yikes. Okay, let's come back to that. Our second speech, Maggie, was 5 minutes and 26 seconds. And our first table topic was Alan, 116, Arlene, 102, Gary 39 seconds, Arlene 1 minute 50 seconds. And let's see, Chris's speech. Oh, I know you wrote it down, I'm sorry. 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Lori.
Sure.
And now for the Calendar report. Lori, could you give the Calendar report?
Sure. Okay. I noticed, Chris, in your speech, when you were saying 2, it came out as top. So just a few of those. Quite a few double clutches when you were evaluating, but overall your speech was very smooth. I would watch your you knows and 3 so's, kind of, and a few, I felt like, I suppose that's okay, I felt like, or is that a filler? Gosh. Well, you can just be aware of it, yep. And let's see, Eric, you were pretty clean. Alan, about 6 double clutches and 5 ahs, 1 Arlene, just 1 ah. You kind of trailed off, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And let's see, Gary, a so and a ah, and Maggie, just a double clutch, a so and a ah and a ah. That's it.
Thank you. Well, I thought the meeting went very well. Thank you all for chipping in, and we kind of have a small group, but everybody performed multiple duties, so I really appreciate that. Chris, I thought your speech was very good, and it got me to thinking, we as a society, we do accept a lot lower standards really for our health care than we would for going to Target or going to Starbucks. And maybe that's because nobody likes having to go to the doctor. Nobody wants to be sick. I don't know what it is, or maybe it's because insurance covers everything and people don't think about it. Not really sure, but it was interesting because it got me to thinking, if more people would just put a little thought into what's health care compared to coffee care or restaurant care or department store care, they'd probably be a little outraged.
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie, thank you for your speech. It's Christmas time, and we all put up our lights and our Christmas decorations, and we go buy our gifts, but you need to think a little bit, like this poem caused us to think, to really kind of get into the spirit of Christmas. And what is Christmas all about anyway? Is it just, killing yourself, trying to make other people happy or trying to look good? No, not really. It's beyond that. So thanks for that inspiration. And so I think we had a good meeting. I'll turn it now over to our Toastmaster, Gary. Let's see, is there anything left? Yes, we need to do our table topics contest. And I believe that our meeting minutes taker can give us an update on what the table topics were today.
Yes, I would like to do that. Alan spoke about if the moon were hit by a giant meteor, how that would be good news. Arlene talked about how wonderful it'd be to live in Siberia for her new job. And Gary, he talked about Godzilla destroying Minneapolis, and he will be counting our votes. So, please keep that in mind as you choose Gary. Just kidding. Go.
Today
Okay.
we will have an impartial panel. So
All right. Good. Now I don't have to vote for Gary. Woo!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Still manipulating.
This is my first one. All right, well, I think I'm ready ready to turn the meeting back over to our substitute president.
Thank you, pseudo president. Thank you. Before I adjourn the meeting, I just want to thank everybody for coming and hope you had an enjoyable time, as did I. And any other
I'll
new
pass-
business?
I'll pass the
Oh, the
potluck.
potluck, sure.
Sign up around.
Yes, so the potluck sign up is available now, so if you're able to sign up for something. And I know, Arlene, you're kind of on the end of your
Yeah, one more.
stint with us, so
Oh,
we'll hope you can see it.
We'll
Good.
miss you.
Come and
I'll
enjoy
be here
food.
tomorrow. I mean, next week.
Next week.
Okay.
It'll feel like tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, good. And looks like we did end the meeting on time with 2 minutes to spare, so we do a pretty good meeting in 50 minutes, don't we?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, good job, guys.